The secret, if there was a secret, was to just make sure that the audience understood why Lily could fall in love with him. Because I didn't.
She said she felt honored, and even more honored that what they were talking about was so important and meaningful that it created so much anticipation, with so many people wanting to see it and talk about it, explaining that the way she gets into a character is through their style, and that what fascinated her most about Lily was that she was a walking, talking contradiction that somehow felt perfectly harmonious. But just 90 minutes was all it took for Blake Lively to face her first major defeat in court, as things quickly became seriously messy between her and Justin Baldoni, leaving Blake needing to rethink her entire strategy, because right now it isn't looking good, especially after both sides were asked whether they would consider mediation, and both flatly refused for completely different reasons, setting the stage for even more chaos in just those 90 minutes. Justin Baldoni scored a major legal victory that sent Blake's legal team into full-blown panic mode, and while it wasn't a final verdict, it marked a huge milestone that could shape the entire case going forward, making it hard to believe her lawyers would let her continue down this path, unless they truly hated her. To understand how things reached this point, it's important to recap the whirlwind of events that unfolded in a single day, starting when Blake Lively filed a staggering $250 million lawsuit accusing Justin of serious misconduct, only for him to fire back with a $400 million countersuit alleging extortion and defamation, making it clear he wasn't backing down and was prepared to go after her aggressively after months of back and forth. The case finally landed in court, becoming one of the wildest legal battles Hollywood has seen in years, with Justin's lawyer, Brian Friedman, entering the courtroom like a force of nature, not just to argue but to completely dominate, leaving Blake's team scrambling in what was both entertaining and embarrassing to watch. Friedman made it clear he planned to pursue the case relentlessly, prompting Blake's rattled legal team to attempt silencing him with a gag order to stop him from speaking publicly, a request the judge flatly denied, reasoning that Blake's lawyers had been speaking to the media non-stop and it would be unfair to muzzle Justin while her team continued broadcasting, marking win number 1 for Justin and setting off a downward spiral for Blake. Her team continued complaining that Friedman's interviews made it impossible to respond because every time they tried, he dropped another bombshell, but the judge once again sided with Justin and affirmed his right to speak publicly, instructing both sides to refrain from media commentary while acknowledging neither could control the other, which Friedman interpreted as permission to keep engaging publicly. He did before Justin made the move that sent Blake's team into full panic mode by taking the fight beyond the courtroom and straight to the internet. True to his word, Brian Friedman and Justin Baldoni launched a dedicated website, laying out every piece of evidence they claim supports their side, including videos, legal documents, messages, and what they call all the receipts. A move that reportedly sent Blake's team into a meltdown as they argued the site would unfairly sway public opinion, only for Friedman to fire back by pointing out that Blake was the one who went to the media first and sparked the publicity storm in the first place, making it clear the courtroom fight was only the beginning, with momentum clearly shifting toward Justin and Blake struggling to keep control of the narrative. The case has evolved into a battle not just of legal claims but of strategy and perception. And for now, Justin appears to have the upper hand while Blake remains on the defensive, and the story continues to unfold. Adding to the public chatter were resurfaced comments from Blake joking about a conversation after giving birth in which her husband made an awkward remark about hypothetical attention if he had lost her, a moment played for laughs but now being dragged into the broader media narrative. Against that backdrop, just 90 minutes was all it took for Blake Lively to suffer her first major courtroom defeat, with the energy in the room shifting dramatically and the situation between her and Justin Baldoni growing increasingly messy, prompting serious questions about whether Blake needs to rethink her entire approach, because right now it simply isn't looking good. The real shock came when both sides were asked if they would consider mediation, and each flatly refused, for completely different reasons, setting the stage for an even more aggressive showdown. By the end of that brief hearing, Justin had scored a massive procedural win that sent Blake's legal team into full-blown panic mode, and while it wasn't a final verdict, it marked a critical milestone that could shape the rest of the case, making it hard to understand why Blake's lawyers would allow her to continue down such a risky path unless they were confident this fight was unavoidable. To understand how things escalated so quickly, it's important to remember that the conflict began when Blake filed a staggering $250 million lawsuit against Justin Baldoni accusing him of serious misconduct, and Justin did not hesitate to respond. He responded with a massive $400 million countersuit accusing Blake of extortion and defamation, making it clear he wasn't just showing up to court but was fully prepared to go after her. And after months of back and forth, the case finally landed before a judge, setting the stage for one of the wildest legal battles Hollywood has seen in years. Justin's attorney, Brian Friedman, entered the courtroom like a force of nature, not there to argue politely but to dominate, leaving Blake's team scrambling, shaken, and visibly embarrassed as Friedman made it clear he intended to pursue the case relentlessly. Rattled by his confidence and courtroom presence, Blake's lawyers tried to silence him with a gag order to stop him from making public statements. But the judge flatly denied the request, pointing out that Blake's own team had been speaking to the media non-stop, making it unfair to muzzle Justin while her narrative continued unchecked, marking the first clear win for Justin and triggering an even steeper downhill slide for Blake. Her team complained that Friedman's interviews made it impossible to respond because every time they tried, he dropped another bombshell. Yet once again the judge sided with Justin and reaffirmed his right to speak publicly, instructing both sides to refrain from press commentary while acknowledging neither could control the other, a situation Friedman interpreted as permission to keep engaging publicly, which he did. Then came the move that truly sent Blake's team into full panic mode, as Justin took the fight beyond the courtroom and online, launching a dedicated website with Friedman that laid out videos, legal documents, private messages, and what they called all the receipts supporting their case, prompting Blake's team to erupt and argue the site would unfairly influence public opinion, only for Friedman to fire back with the obvious point that Blake herself had gone to the press first and sparked a media frenzy. Blake then attempted a desperate maneuver by asking the judge if she could choose who would question her during her deposition, a sworn legal interview where every statement carries serious consequences, clearly signaling she wanted to avoid facing Friedman directly. But the judge shut that down immediately, offering no special treatment and no comfort picks. By the time the hearing wrapped, it was clear Justin had won the day, as every move Blake's team made only strengthened Friedman's position. And the final blow came when the judge officially merged Blake's $250 million lawsuit with Justin's $400 million countersuit, eliminating any chance of dragging things out separately and setting up one explosive, high-stakes showdown, one Blake's team clearly wasn't prepared for. And if this opening round was any indication, she's now facing the fight of her life. Blake now has to confront the hard question of whether this battle is even worth continuing, because this is no longer about bruised egos or public perception, but about the very real risk of losing everything, as a defeat could saddle her with a devastating $400 million judgment that would wipe out more than the combined net worth she shares with Ryan Reynolds, whose fortune is estimated around $350 million while Blake sits near $30 million, raising the question of whether Justin anticipated this exact pressure point before filing his counterclaim, a kind of strategic move his attorney Brian Friedman is known for exploiting. When it was said that Blake could be finished, it wasn't an exaggeration, because this outcome was never something she saw coming when she launched the lawsuit, and Ryan's role in all of this can't be ignored, since even the most supportive spouse would be shaken by the prospect of losing an entire empire over a courtroom fight. If Blake loses, it won't just damage her career, it threatens everything they've built together, turning this into a catastrophic financial disaster that no PR tour or apology can fix, potentially forcing asset liquidation, property sales, and an end to their Hollywood power couple status, something the industry never forgets once a star is labeled a liability. Public opinion is already shifting. Justin Baldoni isn't just winning in court but also in the media, and with every courtroom victory, Blake's credibility takes another hit, making her appear increasingly desperate while Justin continues stacking evidence and controlling the narrative. Hollywood respects power, and the Reynolds' grip on theirs is slipping fast, with the real risk of industry exile looming if they don't change course. Because for Blake, this is a career-threatening disaster that could leave studios avoiding the chaos, brands backing away, and producers hesitant to attach her to future projects. The $400 million liability alone is a career killer, and even a settlement would leave her reputation hanging by a thread, while a loss in court would be game over, with no coming back from being publicly branded a liar and meaning Blake isn't just risking money but her entire legacy. Mixed into the media swirl are resurfaced personal anecdotes and casual family comments that once felt harmless, but now add noise to an already volatile narrative. While early on Justin Baldoni appeared to play along with the usual Hollywood script of being friendly, accommodating, and easygoing, yet unlike celebrities who quietly settle disputes to make scandals disappear, it's now clear that backing down was never part of Justin's playbook. His attorney made it abundantly clear in a recent interview that Justin isn't interested in shortcuts, mediation, or quiet deals, because what he wants is a definitive ruling that proves he did not engage in any of the alleged behavior, with no compromises, no backroom agreements, and no hidden settlements. Friedman explained that even though Justin is currently in Hawaii with his family, it's hardly a vacation, because facing serious allegations makes it impossible to truly relax. And yet, even while navigating this storm, he has opened his home to fire victims, a gesture that reflects the kind of person he is and stands in stark contrast to the chaos surrounding the case. Hollywood, however, has largely kept its distance, and since the dispute began, Justin has lost work and opportunities, including being dropped by his agency, William Morris Endeavor, showing that while social media sentiment may favor him, the traditional industry gatekeepers have noticeably cooled. Despite that, Friedman stressed that Justin isn't taking cheap shots, exploiting loopholes, or joking about the situation, because his focus has always been on truth rather than tearing anyone down, explaining that he only agreed to take the case after thoroughly vetting Justin and reviewing every text, email, voice note, and piece of evidence in meticulous detail, convinced that the truth will ultimately come out. Even as the situation looks bleak on the surface, Justin is standing firm, not just fighting for his name but for his character, and rejecting mediation in court was a deliberate strategic move rooted in the belief that control of the narrative is everything. Any instinct to people please disappeared the moment he was forced to confront Blake Lively's legal offensive, and by sticking strictly to documented facts, he has managed to shift the spotlight onto his case and away from the chaos created by his accuser. Public opinion is now overwhelmingly on his side, making it increasingly difficult for Blake to regain leverage, and if she continues without a strong position, she risks becoming a cautionary tale of a star who overreached and got burned. Because while Hollywood loves a redemption arc, it only favors those who play their cards right, and with the legal proceedings intensifying, Blake may soon find herself with no cards left to play. With the claims now officially in court, more chaos, more headlines, and further blows to Blake's credibility are inevitable, as this saga continues to unfold as one of the most dramatic Hollywood downfalls in real time, with the courtroom clashes, public fallout, and non-stop media spectacle far from finished. If the current trajectory holds, the drama is only set to escalate, as Justin Baldoni's calculated approach, fact-driven strategy, and disciplined public presence continue to strengthen his position, while Blake's missteps and shrinking leverage become increasingly difficult to ignore. The next chapters promise even more explosive moments, unexpected courtroom twists, and public reckonings. But for now, it's clear that Justin is steering the narrative, offering a stark lesson in how planning, restraint, and consistency can prevail amid chaos, while Blake's team remains stuck scrambling to regain control that may already be out of reach. Thanks for watching, and share your thoughts in the comments below, because the next round is shaping up to be even messier, and you won't want to miss what happens next.